up for Tamika McReynolds. My whole game plan was not only to always work, but always to help you. So that's how I got into public relations. So I met Tamika when I first came home from federal prison. And they said, baby, that's the first lady. And so she told me about, she just came home from federal prison. And then she said something about the mayor and the mistress and the favorite, the boom, blah, My cousin got shot and killed, and we had to take custody of our two babies, which was 3 and 1. And my mother didn't want to separate them. So at 16, literally, I became a mother. A lot of people know you from all the things you do, but they don't know the real story of how you became Tamika McReynolds. It was around with 2000, the FBI came to my home. So you was on trial, and you guys were in one set of courtroom. I was in the other courtroom in Newark, New Jersey at the same exact time. I think for me, once I understood what was happening, I knew I had to go into fighting mode. So my mental was more of anger.
I'm busy loving myself, putting me first. Now that I know I deserve more, I'm busy loving myself, putting me first. Made up my mind, I'm on my grind. My time to shine, you hit my line. I press decline, no time for that. I'm moving forward and right now. You're in my past, I've come too far to turn back now. Not going back, I see that everybody's sleeping on me. They really gotta see it to believe.
Welcome to I Love Me More, the podcast where we explore stories of resilience, empowerment, and healing from abuse. Each episode will dive deep into conversations with survivors who've overcome adversity to reclaim their lives. Join us as we navigate the journey from trauma to triumph and discover the power of self-love and healing. Dr. Jamila T. Davis, how are you?
I am well, Tara Wallace, baby.
This is so exciting.
See, what y'all don't know is after y'all, we tape and we go back, we really learn from this work. This is really a healing process, not only for those watching and involved, but for us too.
It doesn't stop. It's like we haven't healed ED and that's it. You're constantly healing. You're constantly encountering things and you're constantly healing. And from all of the women sitting on this couch, to go back and see those episodes again, you go through your checklist to make sure that you're not doing some of those things. You're not... even with my kids, the language I use, just whatever things I've picked up, I've just kind of self-checked to make sure I'm not, or I'm getting better, or I'm trying. And that's the wonderful thing that I love about the book is I love books that you can go back into. It's not over. It's a constant checklist. This is not a book that you're going to read. This is going to be a workbook. It's going to get ugly. It's going to have writing all over it. It's going to get bent. And then you can just order a new one if it gets too bad. But it's you always go back in it to self-check,
to do
heal,
the work.
To do the work.
Right? So a lot of times we talk about the problem, but we don't talk about the solution. And the solution is, in fact, us. It's doing the work. It's going within to figure out, hold on, what am I doing wrong? Right? One of the reasons, Tara, I love the book is because it's the place that I actually take a time out to write down my feelings, really to self-check, to say, okay, hold on, Jamila, you can blame him, you can blame her, you can say it was them. Well, what about you? What part of this are you holding yourself accountable for? Right?
Absolutely.
So it's the questions that really make me think and deep dive and do the inner work that's necessary to heal.
Listen, there have definitely been chapters that I have gone back on and I'm not ready to heal. I'm like, oh, I'll go back to that later. I'm not ready. Because you think you've healed from things and things happen and you realize, okay, maybe I haven't healed so much. Maybe I need to go back to that. But in the quiet time when no one's around and I only have to face myself, that's the time that you can be honest. You don't have to hide from anything. And
that's right.
And
it's about being courageous. Yeah. And I think that's the main thing. Y'all, I have seen the reviews. I have heard what y'all said about this show and how you like the fact that real people are talking about real things, right? This is not a platform. We talk about all celebrities. We have some celebrity friends that come through, but this is a platform for regular people. Women that want to heal, women that are courageous, that will stand and tell their truth, baby. And this season, ooh-wee. Y'all thought last season was something, baby. This season, oh man, these women's stories, they are remarkable. And it's so much to learn from them. So I hope y'all are learning while you're taking this journey.
Absolutely. I don't know if this happened to you, but growing up, I come from this era where, women just don't talk about the things that are happening to them. It's almost like an anomaly that women go through things. And it's so false. And I think that it's unfair that women don't realize that we go through things in our journey and it doesn't just happen. It's always kind of happened. So to create this platform, a safe environment for women to talk about this, and as you said, to start the healing, that is the purpose. We talk about this so that people can identify and start their own healing.
Oh man, it's just a gift. It's a gift from God. And really, this is our ministry. This seat, as we like to say it, the love
The
seat,
love seat.
it's a healing and transformative place where people can sit and be their true, authentic self without having to worry about being judged, blamed, just to feel loved, right? That's why we call it the love seat, right? And I want y'all to start thinking, as you see the stories of these women, what is your story? Because we want to know your story too, right? So matter of fact, let's go ahead and put it out there. If you got a story, or if your neighbor got a story, or your friend got a story, and you think it's a story that should be on our show, head over right now to ilovememorepodcast.com. Click the link and tell us your story, because we want to hear from you too. This is a place to love for all of us.
All right, y'all. So we have some sponsors. And as Jamila likes to say, we got some bills to pay.
But hold on, sis. Before we pay the bills, baby, there's a couple of bills that we need to take care of in-house, right?
Okay.
First of all, if you have not already, make sure you join our community at BlackWomen'sLivesMatter.com. Y'all, it's the meetup. We meet up after the show. We meet up before the show. And our sisters are able to get on live. So make sure you join us in the community. And make sure you come back, because our next guest, oh, baby, you're not ready for her. She is a first lady. She is a boss of all bosses. She gets busy and gets it done. And this is a lady of love and healing. Stay tuned, and we will introduce you to our next guest. Hello, friends. It's your girl, Dr. Jamila T. Davis, and I have a special announcement. We are finally opening up the Black Women's Lives Matter community. So what does that mean in real time? We can fellowship with you. We have this platform that we're giving to you for absolutely free. And it's a place where you can learn from other Black women just like you. And we're going to be learning real things, speaking to experts about finances, relationships, fashion, makeup, parenting. You name it, we got it in the community. It's a place that we can fellowship and also heal. We're also going to be having therapy in the community. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about to get off our chest, and we're going to do it in a safe place where we can learn from experts about how to maximize our potential and become the best us that we can possibly be. So what does this mean? It's time to click the link in our bio and join today. It is absolutely free. It costs you nothing and it will grow you so much, I promise you. So meet me in the community. You get to actually work with me this year. I'm going to be doing some one-on-ones. I'm going to be doing some group work, and it's all about leveling up. Meet me in the community. I'll see you soon. And y'all already know what it is. It's going down.
Welcome back to I Love Me More. And guys, we are so excited about this next guest.
Yes, y'all. So this is my dear friend and confidant. Give it up for Tamika McReynolds.
Welcome to the couch, the love couch, Tamika.
The love seat. The love seat, baby. The seat of transformation and healing.
Feel real good.
And it's going down. So first, let me start off by giving you one of our signature shirts. I love me more, right? Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me. I like this, baby.
Yes.
Now I want to mess up my Let's go. Love you, baby.
All right. So when you come here, this is the place where we keep it real. You ready to keep it real?
I done pulled up on you. I'm ready.
All right.
I don't think we've had anybody with that much confidence in the love seat.
So hold on. Let me just get y'all excited, because I'm gonna give you a little taste of the sugar. Then we're going to take it back in, right? So I met Tamika when I first came home from federal prison. I was actually introduced to her by Yandy Smith. And I remember seeing all this ball of energy. I said, well, who is this? And they said, baby, that's the first lady. That's okay, that's the first. So I'm thinking I'm about to, speak to, I'm about my best behavior,
Right.
the first lady. Okay. Until she told me about, she just came home from federal prison.
Oh.
And then she said something about the mayor and the mistress and the baby at the boot box. So I said, wait a second, hold on. The first lady's, this lady here, she gets real interesting. So let's go back to where it all began. Take us into your childhood and tell us a little bit about young Tamika and growing up.
Well, it's crazy. I'm from Jersey City, born and raised.
Wow.
Love Jersey City. Shout out to Jersey City. Went to St. Aloysius High School, but before that I went to PS20. I didn't want to go to a Catholic school, but my dad said, "You going?" He was going to pay for it because my mom and my dad wasn't together. And I wanted to go to a public school, but that wasn't happening in my household. So my dad literally raised me outside of the household. So I was real scared of my dad more of my mom.
So how was that? Because you rushing us through. We're going to slow this thing on down and take it back in. So how was life without you? Now, I already see the admiration of your dad and the strength of a figure that he was in your life or played in your life. So how was that outside of your home, him not being there? Like, what was that like growing up?
Well, you know what? My dad always instilled in me that I could do and be anything I wanted to be. And even though he wasn't in the household, he still made me grounded to let me know that I could do and be whatever it is on this mission and this journey in life. So I think in all fairness to even when young girls are growing up and when they don't have their fathers, he played a significant role to be able to make me know that I could be able to do anything and just have the boys, the men, or whatever the case may be able to run over. And I always went to him for the advice.
I love that.
Yeah.
Strong. Shout out to all the strong fathers, right?
Shout out to him.
Okay, well, keep going back. So give us life. Take us there. Bring us to Jersey City. And y'all are so crazy because full circle now, you with the mayor in Jersey City, you doing all these amazing things. And this is the place that you was born, that I didn't even know that you was born and raised. Wow.
Born and raised. No, well, first of all, I got to just say that I thank God that I was in a position. My child got a little crazy because my cousin got shot and killed, and we had to take custody of her two babies, which was 3 and 1. And my mother didn't want to separate them. So at 16, literally, I became a mother.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Raising the kids with my mother. And my mother, I don't want to get emotional, but my mother just passed a couple of years ago. So that's kind of still, where it's at. But we had Keisha and Ahmed, and we literally took them in. And I think growing up, I had to speed it up. I was already mature, but then when you get in that adulthood and being able to take on somebody
So at 16 years old, you became a mother, but not from having a physical baby, but because of your cousin's passing.
Getting shot and killed.
Wow.
Yeah. And my mother was determined, and I always looked up to my mom because she literally, she went to work every day, not only taking care of me and my brother, now she's going to take on 2 additionals. So with her taking 2 additional babies on, it was I was there because she still had to go to work and I had to be there. So it just made me admire her even more and just to be able to rock out. And I think that's why I'm trying to just keep winning and keep inspiring people at the same time.
Now, how was that for these 2 young babies? Did they know that their mom was gone, or did they know that they didn't, did they understand the trauma, what really happened in their lives?
At that time, no. I think they probably missed her just by her scent, her feeling. But at that particular time, they was just too young to know the tragic that had transpired. But as they got older,
then you really became the mom. So you was the one that they looking forward to seeing.
Backing up my mother.
Wow.
I was my mother's backup type of thing. So that's what it was. But going through that experience, that made me not want to have children. So a lot of people always asking why you didn't have children or why you didn't want. Is because raising and helping them be raised, that's the reason why I didn't have any children. But it was a long journey. But I tell you, my mother was definitely a strong individual that had great sense at all costs to be able to rock out, to be able to take care of four mouths.
But also it speaks on the co-parenting relationship for your father to be able to come in and still have such a say-so in the house about what happened with you guys, your day-to-day, your schooling. And, that takes a lot. I feel sometimes especially at that time for women to be divorced or not together, to have this amazing co-parenting relationship.
Well, it was crazy. I ain't gonna even sit up here like it was good because my mother was mad because, he wouldn't marry her and all this other stuff. So me and my brother had different fathers, and I'm just gonna keep it 100. my dad literally was a big factor in my life. And he set that tone even if I didn't live with them. So that was big. And that's why I look up to him still to this day.
Okay.
Did your mother ever take that out on you?
You know what? I think my mother sometimes got jealous of the relationship because, you know, sometimes, and again, you don't know this as a kid. Sometimes it's like you have that relationship with your kid, but don't have the relationship with the parent. So she just always made sure with me, even if she got upset with them, she still made it, you get and do whatever you need to do to make sure you keep that work ethic.
The crazier part to this, and this is probably something that I may have not said publicly out loud. I know having the rift that I did with my son's father, having my son, I kind of almost got into war with his father. And my son began to resemble his father to me. So I kind of shunned my son, right? Because of the pain I was dealing with his father. And I know, speaking to women, sometimes that's a common thing. You know what I'm saying? The child almost takes on the brunt of the hurt between what occurred with the parents. So that's a real thing.
No, and it's definitely real because then it becomes more of a jealousy thing. And that jealousy can lead to other things. But one thing I got to honestly say, I was strong because I had two individuals raising me. So that made it good. Like, Mom, be easy. Take it easy. Like, just relax a little bit. But I think sometimes when they can't be who the one they want to be with, that's when that pain comes out. And then that's what we go through as adults. You know what I mean? When we're facing those challenges.
That's good. That's good. Keep going. This story is good already.
Yes. I see hot already. I took out the camera. You still want to go?
Yes, let's go.
So I think for me, and I've never, you know me, I don't talk publicly. You know, I've been asked to do a lot of interviews and, you know, even with me catching my case, and I guess we'll get to that. I don't do a lot of this talking. I'll talk when we get ready to rock out for the kids or we're rocking out for my husband. But I think sometimes it's by your actions. I think sometimes when people are watching you, I think that sometimes that's the lesson and that's the journey because people get confused. And I think they get confused when you're sitting down all the time and you have the cameras watching, but they don't really know the process. They really don't know the production. They really don't know the hurt, the pain.
They don't know what you came from.
They don't know.
So they don't know you. So the crazy part is today you're going to say, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is, because that's what's happening, right?
Wow.
A lot of people know you from all the things you do and all the places you show up, but they don't know the real story of how you became Tamika McReynolds because you went through a journey. It's your journey that made you who you are. So let's get into this thing. So now you're growing up, you're 16 years old, you're raising two babies almost as if they're your own, backing your mother up, right? Yeah. So what happens from there?
Well, my mom had moved them to Texas. And again, it was just a whole learning process from 16 years old to be able to go through that journey. But I just knew one thing about, for me, that you have to be able to stand and go through that trial, no matter. So let's fast forward, right? My mother and my stepdad, they go down to Texas and they continue to raise. I want to be very clear. I'm nobody's mother. Never was. I was there to assist. But it was very, very painful doing that assistant. And I think that's what actually made me who the woman that I am right now by watching my mother. So she actually took them and, you know, of course now they're grown up and they're doing their thing. And I just wanted to be able to be a strong individual.
Did you stay in New Jersey?
I stayed in Jersey.
Okay.
I stayed in Jersey.
And they left.
My mother went there because she wanted to raise them better. You know what I mean? Like get them out of Jersey just to be able to go down. My stepdad, they got married. They were down there and they did their thing. Okay. And I got to just say, my mother did it.
That's
you know what I mean? She did it and she rocked out. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that. So
now you're young Tamika in Jersey City by yourself. Now, what did that look like?
And I always work. What do you mean? What's going on? I always had to work.
Okay.
I was working and making sure I can get it. And I think with that independence, I've been working since I was 13. So I'm going to just share this too, because everybody need to know that you got to work. You got to just be sitting down. That's right. You got to work. This gas station that's right on Communiport in Jersey City. Y'all got to come there. I'm going to take y'all to the hood. I'm going to take y'all with me. Literally, I was the mascot. Like, you know, Tony the Tiger for the XR station. I was the one giving out the flyers back at 13 years old. So I literally was working at 13 years old, giving out those flyers. So all in back of my mind, I always had the work ethic. I worked at UPS. I worked at Continental. I always kept two jobs. I went to college, dropped out, all that other good stuff. But literally, my whole game plan was not only to always work, but always to help the youth. So that's how I got into public relations. Followed one of my mentors, Angelo Ellaby. worked with him, was able to take care of following his footsteps, to be able to rep some of the top artists. And I just found that community PR was something that I loved to do at my young age. And that's how I really got into it.
So that's how you got into the mix.
That's how I got into the mix.
Okay. Because a lot of people know now, if you don't know, Tamika knows everybody, especially in the state of New Jersey, from the governor, next to the mayor, this one, that one. She is the go-to person. And not that she knows them, they love her. So let's go into that. How did you meet these people and how did you find yourself in relation next to the mayor, one of the biggest iconic figures, I guess, historically in the history of New Jersey and the biggest city?
It's crazy. And I don't let a lot of people ask me that question. I must really love you.
Baby, we're going to talk today,
talk today on this couch. You know what, Tara? I really don't be letting people ask. But that one right here, she the only one that could do it. I was repping Eric Williams from the Boston Celtics at the time. And he was in Newark. And Eric Williams is from Newark. And he wanted to do this big community event of giving out over like 5,000 turkeys. So somebody had recommended him to me and he couldn't get to the mayor. And at that time, we was going throughout the whole state of, in the schools, jumping out of cars and just really rocking out for the kids. And he reached out to me and had said that I want to be able to do some work in Newark. And I'm the one that got him in the door with the mayor at that time, which was the Honorable Sharp James. And it started out from there with me just actually doing PR for him of big, huge community events. Not only that he took notice, I think the whole state did because people wasn't doing that at that time. People wasn't really doing the real work, I should say. So when from Jersey City and going through the other cities, that's over 2 years, like literally took notice. So like, who is this firecracker coming into the city and doing these? Because they weren't doing it. Not only going into the schools, we were giving out computers, we was giving out cash, he was giving out turkeys. So then that's when he took the notice.
Okay. So now he takes notice of thee, and you fine now, sis. So I could only imagine what my sister looked like back then. Boom, bop, bam, right?
Baby,
Okay. How do you guys connect?
Well, first of all, you know how I rock and I roll. I mind my business, I do the job, and I do what I do. And I think just by doing events, I had opened up a clothing store with the ex of mine. Then I closed that down. Then I opened up a PR office. And it just took off from there. But he knew the work that I did already throughout the state. So it was more of a mutual. And, it wasn't just more of us just having a relationship or getting together. It was more of the respecting of the work that I was doing in the schools with the kids. So it was just like an organic type of thing. A lot of people think that, we just, at the time, and not trying to, let me be very clear, not trying to hurt nobody's family, nobody, that wasn't the intent. That's not what it was. It was really, really just an organic thing that he saw in me to be able to empower and rock out for our youth.
Okay, so let's go here because now we're going to get somewhere.
Do I have to cross my
Y'all
legs?
ready?
Y'all ready?
Okay.
That's good.
So now, the mayor, he's older than you at the time, correct?
Absolutely.
Is he substantially older or is he? Substantially older, right?
I like that word, Jamila.
Okay.
Dr. T. Davis. That's a word.
All right.
Good word.
All right.
Yay.
Hold on, sis. We gonna have to get serious here because we got to take it on in. He's honoring you and respecting you, and you guys organically connect because your interests are the same. Your interest as his interest is and has always been is the people. Right. So now he sees this person who's young, vibrant, and dope, bringing something different to his city. And he's honored to have you in his company.
Absolutely.
And he also understands you're representing real stars and celebrities. Absolutely. And I guess he sees himself to also be an important person, right? A VIP, Absolutely. Very important person. So now y'all are in each other's company. I guess I'm going to get right to it.
Let's go.
Sis, where did the lines begin to cross? But and we want to talk about this because I feel as though that this is a conversation that's going to help some other people heal and help people see things from a different lens other than a judgmental lens. Right. So how did it cross and how did you guys become intimate?
Well, you know what it was? It was more of that father figure. I've always dealt with, people my age, older men, but I think when you deal with that older, that's more confident, that knows that, they don't have to babysit you. They don't have to cater to you. It's not like I'm just sitting home and waiting for them to come. they respect your guidelines. They respect what you do. I think with him, I looked up to him. I looked up to him like a father figure, right? He respect the table. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he needed me, but he respect what I did in the city and for his kids. So that was the organic part. It was nothing intentional. It was not intentional to hurt anyone.
I just want to go back because you said a father figure. There's this assumption that women who are possibly attracted to father figures have this, their father wasn't around, there's like a missing piece, but that's not the case. Like your father's very present in your life.
But she admired her father.
And still do. And I admired him. Because
so I just want to say,
so that's the common.
I guess
that's
it's
the
just like when you say
commonality.
father figure, you know, there could be an attraction, but it's not because you're seeking a father figure. I think that's what I'm saying.
It's
You're not
comparable to a father figure, though, because I would think like I love my father, right? My
Yeah.
father is my guy, and I think I finally got a dude that represents my father's standards. But as a girl, little girl, I don't know about you, but I always aspired to be with someone who was like my father because my father was so dope. So I could easily see how someone who you respect and you admire, and then somebody you see, you know what I'm saying, resembles what they stand for, that the attraction could occur.
And not only that, I didn't need him for anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
For that
Validation.
confidence, that validation, that if I wanted to just be like, I know I can win, he gave me that because he was just so dope himself. I think sometimes with women, we forget, you know, it's good to be strong. It's good to act like we can handle everything, but some we can't. Let me just say that. We do what we do and we do it well, but it's always good that you can be able to have somebody you can cuddle to, be able to get advice from, and let them be the man. I think sometimes we try to be both and we can't. And I think that's the real issue. I know where I'm at. I know I'm strong. I can do what I do. I rock out. But it's even with my current husband now, Pastor McReynolds.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going to get there. So just hold it right there. Because I'm setting up the stage for something.
Okay.
So now you meet him. What did that look like? Because you go from a platonic relationship to something intimate. Like,
I got to honestly say, it was overwhelming. It was exciting. It was even for him to take like notice, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm doing my thing and, you know, we can rock out with anybody or get anyone, you know, do whatever we want to do. But now you're talking about a mayor. It was so like just me. You know what I mean? I felt like me, like the mayor. Like, I know I'm dope. I know I'm doing what I do, but I didn't see that coming. So now I felt like that little girl, like, I mean, like, oh my God.
He likes me.
Like, he likes me. And like, now I'm really about to rock out. But what he did do, and this is what a lot of women don't understand, he taught me. He taught me what the worth is of me. He taught me what the worth, even though I knew it, it was good to be able to hear it. Because sometimes we get in our head that we know everything and we don't. And I think that was the beauty of our relationship. People think it was just like about the sex and it was about the this, and it was the tenacity. And I didn't even know what that brought to the table. And I'm talking about real talk. I'm not talking about, you know, people get it twisted, like, you know, with gifts and all of this. That was none of that. It was more of the lessons that he was able to provide for me and I was willing to take. And I think a lot of people sometimes don't get it because they don't want to, or they don't just stop in their tracks to be able to get it. So that's what he taught me. And I miss that, right? I miss it because sometimes we forget, but then that's why we got to go back. And just sometimes we got to just take a beat and say, this is what it is. This is where we at. And let's keep it moving.
Okay. So it was you admitting that there was a void that he fulfilled.
Absolutely.
So now, do you fall in love with this person? How does this relationship turn out to be? Take us there at the time, you know, before the trouble, before all the craziness. This is just you really, really, really loving on someone that you feel is loving on you back. What does that look like and what does that feel like?
Well, I never knew what that really was, besides because I never had fell in love or never loved anyone.
Well, that's why I was, you know.
Whoa, let's take a beat on that.
Yeah.
So she found love, Tara, with someone. And that was the first time. She never sensed or felt a love like this. That's pretty deep.
No, that's pretty deep. Well, that's why, you know, for me, it gets very tricky when people say father figure. Because, again, you're not looking for something. You have found something you've never had.
Absolutely.
So that's not a father, and you're not looking for that.
Right.
You're
No,
feeling
absolutely.
you have found something that you have never had, and you want to indulge and see what that feels like or explore and see where it could go because it feels so good.
Absolutely.
And I have definitely been there. I understand that.
You know what he did? This is what happened. They make you feel like you're hold for you. It makes you feel, even though you know you rocking and you doing, because we're independent women. We've been working since forever. But when you get someone that, when they look at you, you going even with them. You know what I mean? And when we are moving so fast, I wasn't able to get that. You know what I mean? So I think that's when I was able to recognize it, keep it until I got it again, if that makes sense.
So it was the feeling of love.
Yeah.
Right? And love will make us do
Crazy stuff.
whoa,
Crazy
things.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then we had to sit on the seat and heal afterwards. You understand what I'm saying?
In the book.
But what I respect and admire
With the
so much from
steps.
you
With the steps.
is that you're being real with us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because so many people judge people and they call people things and they say different things, but then they don't get the other flip,
Right.
perspective.
Right.
So now you said you didn't know he was married.
No, at the
first.
time. No, I did not.
Because the wife wasn't around.
No, it was just, I was in Newark. I was moving. I was doing what I do. When, it happened. It's like, I found that after that was already too late. But again, I want to make sure we keep it gangster and keep it 100. Never in my intentions to hurt nobody. And I think that's sometimes that that's not what took place. You understand what I'm saying? So now once it's already there and it's happening.
So for the viewers and the people that don't know, how long was your relationship? What was the details that took place with that?
Well, I caught a case.
Okay, wait. So you telling me, sis, nobody knew that you was with the mayor until the case came out?
Oh, absolutely. If they did know, it wasn't like something I told. We kept it it was nothing for us to tell, in regards to, because again, at that time, once we already had started or whatever, then I found out. So it wasn't like I was.
Okay, so whoa. This is so good, sis, because I found out. I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I found out.
Absolutely.
So how did you feel when you finally found out?
I'm already in.
I know that you made the decision, I'm already in, so I'm staying there.
Yeah.
But how did you feel? Because you already said you respected him, you loved him, he made you feel in a way.
Yeah.
So in essence, you're thinking you could be, with him and be the first lady of that potentially one day.
No, I was good being behind the scenes. I was good where I was at, because you got to remember, he was the most powerful mayor in the state of New Jersey. So I know my place and I know my role. Sometimes people get out of their place and out of their role. I'm still running around doing what I do. It wasn't like we were together every day. That's not what it was. Because remember, he was a state senator as well. So it wasn't like he was just the mayor. But then by that time, I found out, he has his children, he has his family. So of course, no, I'm not trying to.
But you're not feeling betrayed at that point?
No, not at all. What I felt, was I angry? Was I mad at it? Yeah, of course, that's just a natural feeling. But then we get past all of that, because now my heart is in it. You know what I mean? This is in it now, not just my head. This is in it. So now, but I'm still not going to be disrespectful. You know what I mean? Even though I'm dealing with, I'm still not going to be disrespectful. So, because I know my place, if that makes sense. But now I'm traveling all over. So it's not like I'm with them every day. I'm not with them every second of that. If he called me, if he didn't call me.
That's the question, right? Especially if you're dealing with such a public figure.
Absolutely.
That has a family.
Absolutely.
Is it because, you weren't sharing this? This is such a secret that you can't say anything, that there are no questions being asked, or no one saying to you hey, pulling your coattail, what's going on? Is it because it was such
I was just different. First of all, I don't discuss. Nobody can ask me nothing. Let's talk about that.
You don't sleep in town.
Yeah,
She said she don't sleep in town.
That's what I mean. It wasn't because it
was about my principles. It wasn't like, I'm running back and telling the girls whatever, because that's where you get in trouble at. That's where the mess comes in, because they're going to try to get what you got, or try to, be mad at you.
That too.
So I learned how to mind my business. Whatever I did, that's what I did, and I owned it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So it was my own feelings. I didn't have to come and chitty-chatty with anyone. I owned it. I took it. And whatever mistakes came with it, I took it.
All right, let's talk about that. So the mistakes that come with it. Take us to the moment when you found out trouble was rumbling in paradise. Let's get there. What was the it was a knock?
It was the knock on the door.
Okay, let's take us to that day.
Let's get it in. And I got to say this for everybody that don't know about the knock. It was around with 2000, I want to say right before 9/11. They came to my home and, get heavy.
Who's they?
The FBI, but they weren't the FBI at that time. They were just coming to actually inquire about 9/11. They just went down the block, and that's what we thought it was. I asked them to come if they wanted coffee, tea, breakfast, whatever, because you're talking about 9/11, but I didn't know who they were at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say a year went back, like a year then left, and I'm dealing with someone else at that time, and I was living with them, and they actually knocked on his door where I was living. No, back all the way up. I had just did an event.
Okay.
And I flew in from, I think it was Vegas that I just had flew in from. And, like the knock came, and again, I didn't have nothing to hide, which I didn't. And they knocked on the door, and, I let them in, and they wanted to question me and ask me about the honorable. And
the honorable, y'all, is the mayor.
Absolutely.
Okay?
That's what I've always called. I've always called him that, and still do to this day. And they wanted to ask me about him, and I didn't feel like it was a need that for them not to ask. I didn't know about get a warrant, and I didn't know anything about that because I didn't have anything to hide. So when they came in and, they spoke to me, and I'm literally seeing where it's going. And I'm like, well, this ain't where it's supposed to go, but okay, whatever. So at that time I had an office, a PR office, community office, downtown Newark. And they said, well, Miss Rowley, that was my maiden name at the time. They said, we're going to want you to come in for questioning. I said, okay. So again, still not thinking anything. But then once they came to my office and I saw them, like literally, this is not about you. It's about the honorable. And I'm like, I still didn't know what that means because I've never had that situation happen to me. So I'm like, okay, still. But then that's when people actually started telling me, you better get you an attorney because it don't look like it's going well.
Okay.
So, and that's when I knew it was trouble. It wasn't about me, but it was about my relationship with him that they wanted to go through me to get to him, if that makes sense.
So what do you mean? Feel like they was in his text messages or they were?
Oh, I don't think it was all about that. I think they've been trying to get him in. I mean, this is public record. This is not no secret. Been trying to get him for over 20 years while he was in office. It wasn't just
because Black public officials, we've learned that's a thing. Now, once they get in office, them FBEZs be coming for them. So I get that. But now, so what happens from here?
Oh no, the case starts. Like, I mean, it literally just, it's.
So it went from 0 to 100 real quick?
It went to the 100. I didn't have no idea. But one thing I did know is that what you're not going to do is say I did something and I didn't do it. So was the big thing for me. So once I got my attorney, it's like literally it just went from the 100.
So now what did they accuse you of, or how did they try to trap you up into this situation?
Well, there's a lot of things, and not to get crazy, because again, with appeals and everything, they didn't want me.
No, it's clear that they didn't want you. They wanted him.
They wanted
but
him.
But the way to get to him
was to have me. And I had to fight for me. And I think a lot of people don't know how to fight for themselves. And even though I didn't know what a federal court judge looked like, which I didn't, I knew if you're not going to tell me I did something, and I didn't.
So what did they say you did?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a whole political case. I mean, what the terms are, like, I can give you the transcripts, but literally it was, first of all, I started out with 33 counts.
33 counts?
Right, and it went down to 13, and then it went down to 3, if I'm not mistaken. It was crazy.
I mean, but to me, what's your mental state? You've pretty much lived everything on the up and up.
Right.
This mishap, which you have now ended and moved on with somebody completely different. Yeah. And now you're having to gear up with an attorney. Like, what's your
33 counts?
Like, how does that now affect your life, your mental, your companies? Like,
well, you know what? I think for me, once I understood what was happening, I knew I had to go into fighting mode. So my mental was more of anger.
Girl, you got these viewers looking you up right now. They like,
oh, no, that's
you know something.
Google me.
Oh, no. What was the things that they were accusing you of doing, sis?
It was, well, 2 things I can go off the top of my head. It was mail. One was mail fraud.
Okay.
One was like conspiracy or something, like another, like, again, I mean, they can Google it. I mean, I don't care about that.
So mail fraud, conspiracy.
And it was something.
So they was accusing you of taking money from him?
From the properties.
What I love about your story is when we go to the schools and everything, you're the first to say, yo, I did it. Like, you're the first to admit your stuff. Right. I want you to talk to the person who's still on the line, trying to admit and has to heal through that, because that shit is a real place.
Absolutely.
But also how you can deal with someone innocently enough.
Right.
And then a year later, you got 32 counts. Now you got
30. Well, 30. But it got reduced.
Originally, started out with, and like how that can change your life just by association.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the fact that we sitting here and you my sis, and like I said, one of the reasons why I rock with you so hard is because even when we go to schools together, we've been in prisons together helping women. She's been so real about, I did it. This part, not the crime. She's always said she never did the crime, but she's always admitted this part. And I thought it was important to have you here because there's somebody sitting in your same seat. Somebody who admires somebody, sees someone and they compliment them and they're of affluence and esteem. And they're like, wow, you chose me. I'm so grateful that enters this, Right. And I feel like this conversation is dope for us because we're entering a space of healing through this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But what I also respect about you, you still the covering. Right? You still, you might see some stuff, but you still and I guess that's why people rock with you because they know regardless if it was right, wrong, or indifferent, Tamika gonna stand up and she gonna hold us down.
All the way.
Because you've been doing that for a very, very long time.
All the way.
For so many people.
Since 16.
Let me say this though. I'm gonna be real clear because you are amazing. Because I don't talk about it. First of all, nobody just can't be asking me questions. Let's get that in order.
Which is why I've said very quietly over here.
No, Tara, no, you can ask me. You family, bro. You family. I think sometimes people get, because you helping me heal right now as I'm sitting on this couch. Because, and I don't want to cry because you're going to pay for my lashes.
But that's all right. I'll pay for it.
I know you're going to pay
baby, I'll pay
$7.99.
That's all right.
What happens is when people think they want to sit down and talk, that's not what they want to do. They want to get and be like, they want to be nosy. I'm not that chick for that. What I am, though, is for this process, because this is real. You can Google me. You can do whatever you want to do, but what you can't do is walk in these heels. The point is when you have a safe haven, you so real with it, and Tara, again, I didn't even know this is where I was coming. First of all, I made cornbread last night. Let's get that popping. I went to Meat City today, and not even knowing what I was getting ready to walk into. Let's start with that. Okay. I think sometimes people get confused because they sit down and then they want to run with it and talk about them like a dog. That's why we don't have safe places. That's why people don't talk about it. That's why I don't do interviews because I don't have to. Right. The healing is so real right now because I'm feeling it because I feel the love from you. People can't ask me this. My case was caught in 2008. I went to jail in 8. I came home in 9. Let's get it cracking. What happens is that's why people don't really can get into these environments because it's not people that's human that really wanted to be able to heal others. If I thought it was anything else, I wouldn't even sit on the chair.
That's what's up.
Am I talking right? So that's why it's huge for me to be able to share a bit of part of me so people can get that they can still win. No matter what they go through.
Come on,
they can win.
They can win.
It don't matter what the questions are. It's not the hot seat for me because the real is if you watch the case, because I was on Telemundo. My name's Tamika McReynolds. It was like, Tamika McReynolds. I was on Telemundo and I don't speak Spanish. So when people, I'm ready now. Let's get it.
Come on, baby.
Let's get it.
Come on, baby.
When people don't know your story and the shoes you walked in, you can't define me. I'm sitting on here because I want to, because I love you, and because I love you. And I want to be able to share with you. Have we made mistakes? Absolutely. Are we there to we perfect? No, we're not. But I'm going to tell you what I do know. That's why it's important for y'all to continue to do the work. Is my weave right? Let me make sure I'm good. Because I want people to know that when you go through stuff, people can't define who we are and what we done went through. What happens is mind your business.
Yes.
Walk in your shoes. If you can walk in these boots, walk in them. But if you can't, practice.
Oh, you gave me all the drops for the next show, baby. But all right.
And you can't walk.
Now, let's go back here.
Go.
Yeah. So now because this is good. Because there's a lot of people who probably still feeling the type of way and think they know and don't really say nothing. So I like this where we could just put the cards on the table.
On the table.
Right? Wholess, right? Because what we do know is now you came back bigger, stronger, wiser, and better, and everybody wants to mess with you. So there's something about you and something about what you did.
Well, I was the truth before I caught the case.
Come on.
So when you're the truth before you caught it, you still able to keep it because they didn't give it to you. You follow me? So that's where people confuse that. I was doing this before I got into a relationship with the Honorable. I was doing this before, even after I caught the case. And by the way, I didn't take a plea. Oh, get that right. I didn't take a plea. I fought for my life because what happens is sometimes people like to lay down. That's how they get you. I didn't have to lay down.
So
let's go.
Okay. The 33 counts, they said you did everything underneath the sun that wasn't true. You was a developer in the city. So just take us to that. So you was developing properties because now this is a mayor who I respect so much.
Holly,
because he's someone who's done so much for the city.
Yes, yes.
He ran how many terms without nobody, unchallenged, undefeated. Yeah. He's done significant work where the city started, where the city turned out. So you was doing development work. And now tell us about that.
Well, the development part just kind of got in my lap because I didn't know what to do. So I got a team together. I was the developer. You have to get your architect. You got to get your lawyer. Right. You get all these people in place to be able to do that stuff. It wasn't like I was doing. You had to go to the council. You had to go through proper process to do it. You ain't just wake up, but they accused of something like he was steering or giving me properties. You can't give me properties.
Okay, so for our viewers, that was really what the allegation was,
That's exactly
right?
what it was.
So they said that there was these properties that was worth a substantial amount of money. And they said that he steered these properties to you. And they found out some type of way that you guys were in an intimate relationship. So they used that moment to turn it into a scandal.
And it wasn't that.
To bring him down.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be clear. It wasn't that. That part.
Yes.
So even with the development part, and again, if people know, and that's why I tell people to just go see the transcript because that's the beauty of court.
Oh, but hold on. Forget the beauty of the court because didn't you win your appeal?
Won my appeal.
Okay, so that's the proof is in the pudding. So we know that it's written that you didn't do what they said that you did.
Gotcha.
However, it was your entanglement, as Miss Jada Pink calls it, the entanglement.
Doing the entanglement.
Okay,
on the count.
Look at the entanglement that got us all caught up, right? And you know what's so crazy about that? Because they said God chastens those that he loves. I know he loves you, baby.
Oh, no, God loves me.
So much that you do, so much that you give, so much that you are, right? This could have went swept underneath the rug or whatever, and it could have just been whatever, but he allowed it to be exposed. And I feel like sometimes we look at that and think it's a bad thing, and people point fingers because people do way worse. They just ain't get caught. Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
They
that
do.
part, okay?
That part.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you got caught. This case is happening. You're on Telemundo, the Spanish-speaking people. Everybody knows about
Jonathan is Spanish over here. Como se llama?
Okay, baby.
Yes, baby. They were saying my name, and I didn't know what they were saying.
So now, what happens?
What do you mean what happened?
Because I know, sis, when the F-boys was on me, I was hot like fish grease. So I know I lost friends. People stopped taking calls. People got funny. Now, I don't know if that was just experience but talk to us about what was your experience once this, because nobody knew. This was a thing that y'all kind of, it was just,
absolutely.
So now people know something that they think they got, and now your haters who trying to do it like you and couldn't step like you, now they think they got one up on you. I know that part because I've been through it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what was that like for you when it's on the front cover, when Telemundo is calling your name and all these things are happening? What are you feeling inside and what you're going through?
I wasn't hurt about the haters. I was hurt about you accused me of something that I didn't do. I didn't care about the haters because the haters didn't put me there. I think sometimes people worry about.
So you don't even
haters.
care about what they about the you didn't care about the relationship part. You cared more so because y'all lying on me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And what you and it wasn't about me. It was more about him.
The neighbors is talking, right? Because now, y'all, you have to understand, Sharp James. Right? At that particular time, he was like a god in the city. Like you said, the feds had been following him for 20 years. And now this is a mayor who has been with, if I can remember correctly, with the James Brownses of the world and all the elite iconic figures during, the movement. He's been an activist, a frontline soldier, someone who's so well respected, so well known. And now here we go. He's got this case. And although they were talking about certain stuff in the case, I don't even think the people cared about that. They wanted to know about the mistress, right? Who was this? Who was the brown sugar that he was next to? So how was that for you in that moment, dealing with the eyes, the extra eyes, right? So y'all, we talk about things and we do things, but oftentimes, like we said, we don't get caught doing them. So nobody knows our business. It's in private, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens when what's in private comes to light?
I think it goes back to that foundation. For me, I can't speak for everyone else. I didn't think of it as an issue for everyone else. I needed to fight for me. So
now your father, your mother, your cousins and them, because you know everybody, the people that were secretly competing, all of them know about this thing, and they finally, we couldn't get nothing on to Tamika. Because I know that's what they did to me. We got one on you.
We got one on you.
Yeah.
And you said you wasn't fazed.
I wasn't fazed by that because, again, the way that I'm built, I think you got to be cut from a certain cloth, and you don't know it until you're going through something. As crazy as that may sound. For me, I was fighting for my life. Nobody was going to do that for me but me. But God was able to send me some help, be able to, because again, I didn't go through it by myself. God sent me some help because I wasn't praying. I was fighting for my life. Now, if you said I took your wallet or you took your pocketbook, and if I took it, I'm gonna say I took it, but you're not gonna tell me I did something and I didn't do it.
So what you did was use blocking.
I blocked it
as your coping tool. Let's talk about that. Because that's like you in it, so you fighting for your life, so you're not going to deal with all the other stuff. But what happens after you have to really sit and take a moment with yourself and reflect on your situation and what happened to you and what you technically got yourself into?
Absolutely. And again, I think that's the first thing. We have to take ownership of our journey. We got to take ownership of our life and our mistakes too, and our successes. What for me was when I was going through it, I already knew the haters was hating. They was hating before. So what I did was I just turned all that into something positive for me, not for anyone else.
Now, how did you do that, sis? Because now you're teaching us. This is a chapter. This is a chapter in the book right here.
It's a chapter in the book. Let me tell you what it was. When you know who you are. A lot of us as women don't know who we are. And we don't know how to stand for ourselves. And I'm not talking about standing on with a man. I'm not talking about standing on with your children. I'm talking about standing on your own 2 feet to be able. Now, was it hard? Hell yeah. Was it crazy? Hell yeah. But what I did know, what my dad instilled in me, and he always said to me, the hand is dealt, let's play it. Because now it's dealt to you. So for me, I'm going to stand on principle. Right? Now, if I've done
they say now in 2024, I'm going to stand on business.
I'm going to stand on business. That's what they said in 2020. Well, back then, that's what I was doing.
Okay.
Now we're here at 24. That's what you have to be able to do. People don't know how to fight for themselves. They wasn't testing it against him. They were testing it fine against me. Now, we weren't caught together. But it was people in there that I didn't even know. That's when I knew that this wasn't about me.
Was this part of the team that you hired that were testifying?
No, she's talking about
Oh, no, some of them too.
Okay,
that's no, some of them. Oh no, they all flipped the script because.
Okay.
Again,
whoa, hold up. This is good. Let me take my shoes off.
Do you want me to taste the food? Let's go.
Let's go. Now you want to stand.
No, I didn't go there. I didn't take the stand.
Okay, so
I'm in the courtroom.
Okay.
People got on the stand and put their hand on the Bible that didn't even know me.
So you took it to trial.
No, I took it to trial.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so you took it to trial, but you didn't get on the stand.
No. Me
and
then,
right, but people, this is when the folks started flipping.
Absolutely.
They was flipping like the pancakes.
Like pancakes, waffles, bacon, whatever else you want to say. They were flipping, honey, and talking and chit-chatting. And that's why you can't let people define you. That's why I'm so good at what I do. Because again, God gave me that strength and that ability to be able to block them. Let me fight. Let me get down crying and I'm hurting all at the same time, but I can't let them see that because again, I'm fighting for my life. So don't think that I didn't go through the pain. It still bothers me. It's almost 20-something years later, 15 years later, but it still hurts me.
So were some of these people you trusted?
Oh, absolutely. I done took care of their kids, done took care of them. And and I delete real well. Oh, let me be clear on that. You got that in the book? Because if that's not in the book, I do that real well.
Hold on. Speaking of the book, you got a copy of the book?
I sure do, right here. Look behind me, honey.
Okay, baby.
Behind me, baby.
Now you can't come here without a copy of the good book.
Let's get the good book on there, honey.
From first lady to federal prison to first lady. That's crazy, right? All right. So now you said some of the people that you took care of, and I know that because I know people that I helped to make hundreds of thousands of dollars got on the stand and testified against me, and they was facing probation. So we can relate on that.
Absolutely.
So people you thought would never, and they thought you thought that they was going to stand with you.
And they was on there with their hand on the Bible and hand up raised and making up stuff. And it's one thing.
If you
tell
telling
the truth. I don't mind you telling the truth for me. Telling the truth all day. But the lie, that's the part I didn't get. But my dad, that's where my dad comes in at. About standing on who you are. Because I could have took a plea. I didn't. I could have.
Because they wanted you to take a plea to something you didn't do.
No, you could have, right. You could have somebody testified against them or whatever the case may be, but I wasn't going to do that.
So that's what they really wanted.
Oh, absolutely.
They wanted you to testify.
Oh, absolutely.
And you would have got immunity, basically, right?
Whatever the hell it was.
Yep, but you said absolutely not.
I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to stand on business.
Absolutely.
I did something wrong, so I'm admitting to what I did, but this is not what I did.
And for the record, in court, I apologized to the wife.
Whoa! Let's talk about
Is
that.
the seat hot now, or I'm never ever trying to hurt anybody. Now, because when you love somebody, right, you're not trying to deliberately hurt anyone that's affiliated with them, right? And I think that's where people got lost at, right? And I think for me, I don't want to feel that pain. Because it's not like that's what I was trying to do. It wasn't like I saw him and said, no matter, his wife, his kids, that's not what it was, right? What it was, I loved him. And I couldn't help that I loved him, right? So in the courtroom, I had asked my attorney, which is Jerry Crovatin, and my judge at the time was Judge Martini. You're making me cry.
It's all right.
No, you making
But that's how we heal.
I know.
We're not hiding over here. It's okay to cry.
I know.
Baby, it's okay to take the eyelashes off if we need to. If we got to get these wigs off, we can do that too. Baby, we done took our shoes off. But that's what I'm talking about. That's real. When you can really talk about something without having to sugarcoat it, without having to add or subtract or wait to think about what you're saying, it's healing. And I love the fact that you're crying because that also shows that you never meant to hurt anyone.
No.
You had no ill intent.
No.
And you actually rode with someone. Because after it all, and everything went on, you stood up 10 toes down.
In the courtroom. And this is when you know you have arrived bigger than you. Because when they're sitting, who wants to hear about somebody with somebody? Nobody want to hear that, especially in a public demeaning. It's crazy, right? Yeah. And I said to my attorney, just ask the judge, could I apologize? And he didn't want me to at first. Like he didn't think it was a good idea. I said, I don't care what you think. I'm going to apologize. And literally, for me, I wanted her to know. And I did it publicly in the courtroom. Because when they ask you, do you want to speak after closing case? I just thought it was a need for that. For her to know that that's not what I came to do. And that made me feel better for Tamika.
That's right.
Not for nobody else, because I knew it was the right thing to do.
You're going to help somebody heal today, sis. Because we're not always going to be right. But what's the realest thing is when we can admit that there's an issue, that there's a shortcoming. And actually, that's the first chapter in our book, right? Recognizing it, saying it, admitting it, and admitting where we played a part in it.
Yeah.
So the fact that you could get up in front of everybody, even when your attorney told you it wasn't such a good thing, you said before God, if this be my last day on earth, I'm going to see my maker. Guess what? I did that, ma'am, and I'm sorry. Wow.
And I turned around too. I turned around. And I needed that from me. So she would know. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm grateful that my mom and my dad
still with you,
raised me. And again, because we all just want to be decent people.
Yes.
Decent human beings. Yes. I tell people all the time, we all gonna make mistakes. We ride them out, but own it, appreciate it.
And then you can move on.
And keep going.
Yeah.
So we all make mistakes, right? If we caught or not, every day, none of us are perfect, right? So we all make a mistake. So you admit your mistake, and then what happens? Now the jury comes back.
I was found guilty.
Now what you you may know, when you was on trial, I didn't know you. So you was on trial, and you guys were in one set of courtroom, I was in the other courtroom in Newark, New Jersey at the same exact time. It's crazy because I remember because all the media was there every day. I'm going to court, you going to court. And I'm like, whoa. And this is true story. I didn't know her at the time.
No, I didn't.
But in the same federal courthouse at the same time that you was going through your thing, I was going through my thing too.
Wow.
So now what happens in regards to the verdict?
I was found guilty.
How long did they deliberate?
Oh, I don't even know. It probably felt like a lifetime.
Wow.
I don't even remember, but I know we were found guilty. And my judge.
So you guys went to trial together?
We went to trial together.
Wow.
We was in the same courtroom together.
Wow. Wow. So how was that? When the jury members came back and they said, you're guilty. How did that feel at the time?
I was ready to go. I was ready to go because I had so much anger built up in me that when people made false statements and talked about you, I think I just needed time to be able to get away. I didn't know where I was going.
Because I knew I wasn't ready to go.
Oh, no, I was ready to go.
You said you was ready to go.
Because then it was like, you could wait out on your appeal. You could do this. I didn't want to do none of that. I wanted to go and get the journey started just in case if you lose the appeal. I wanted to go ahead and go. They had to find me a bed. They give you time to, I was found guilty, I want to say in March, April. I didn't have to go in until September. They can let you, get your life in order, do whatever. But we literally tried to find beds and they didn't have a bed for me. I went to West Virginia.
So it's so crazy how we didn't know each other. But while you went into I went into Danbury, which was in Connecticut, when you was going to West Virginia.
I went to West Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was a healing process for the women there, for me to help them because they weren't as, how you want to lift and encourage. People hadn't come there to see them. I didn't want no visitors. That was one of the things. I didn't want any visitors. I just needed to process. I needed to think and I needed to forgive myself. For everything.
That's real.
I wanted to be able to forgive me and be able to know that I'm not a bad person.
So what did that process of forgiveness look like? Because that's the transformative work, Tara. When we talk about self-forgiveness, because many of us have done things that we haven't forgiven ourselves for.
I think when you know what you've done, right, and you're able to accept what you've done, it's not up to anybody else. It's up to you. And I think for me, going down there and being with those women, I still had more. They done lost their husbands, their children, like no visitors, like they lost a lot. I didn't. So I was able to share and pour into them the short period of time that I was there. So I was grateful for because then, like I said, God sent me an angel because I wasn't praying for myself. He was.
So let's talk about the angel.
You know who the angel is, Tara? Pastor John H. McReynolds.
Say it a little louder for the people.
Oh, I'll say it louder, honey. Everybody knows. Nobody's not messing with that one. Pastor John H. McReynolds. Okay. Well-known pastor. I've known of the church, but didn't know him. The late mayor from Jersey City, which was Glenn Cunningham, is the one that had told me about that church, which is my knowledge. He was there for like 30-something years. And I would go there during, before my case. Like that was the church. I would go there at like 8:00 in the morning, then I would go to work like 8 to 9. And I would just bless it. Like I would never join the church, but I would bless the church. And come to find out, Pastor John H. McReynolds, he's now my husband.
Baby, you done skipped a step.
I done skipped a lot of stuff.
So
how did you meet?
So how did I meet?
Go ahead, Tara. Take it from here,
Pastor John
H.
McReynolds.
I like the way he says his name, Tara. You better say it.
Baby, this thing done got good right here, y'all.
His son was dating one of my friends at the time.
Okay.
And they were getting ready to get married. And they needed me to help facilitate the wedding. And she called me to ask me would I be able to help her do the wedding. And I told her, well, I'm about to catch a case. So they didn't care. So I said, well, I got to meet the pastor because before you go into a church, you want to make sure that, you go over the rules, regulations, or what you're going to do as a planner. And when I met him, he was trying to court me at that time.
Baby, and they all be trying to court my sister. That's a whole nother show though.
Yay. So, yay.
Baby.
He said, who are you? And, I said, listen, I'm about to catch a case. But he knew
That's
Sharp James, and he respected Sharp James so much. He said, I already know. Like he already knew I was about to get indicted. And from that time period, when I got indicted, he stuck by me. And he wasn't my husband at the time. But that was God. That was God. And I'll never forget that he would just take me on rides, and we would listen to God Favor Me by Bishop Hezekiah Walker. And it saved my life. So God sent me someone that removed everybody else that tried to hurt me and try to kill me, but sent me somebody that saved my life. And I'm with him now. And
what them people at the church said when he brought you over and said, this my wife?
Well, I wasn't married to him.
Good.
I wasn't married to him at the time, but people already had knew that, but he didn't care.
I love that.
He didn't care.
love that.
And he's one of the most powerful pastors still, even though, he's been through challenges, as Jamila knows. And, everybody that knows my husband, I'll take your head off your shoulders for every rev. They didn't want him to marry me. He wanted to marry me while I was on trial. And I told him, no, wait, let me get through the trial. Let me go to prison. Let me come back and see if that's what you want to do. I came home in July. He came to the halfway house and he proposed to me when I came from the halfway house. And we got married that year in November 28th. And we've been married since 15 years.
Wow. Look at God.
Yeah.
Nothing but God. Nothing but God. And I wasn't in love with him. I wasn't in love with Pastor. I loved him because he stood for me and with me. And I was on every channel by this time, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, and Telemundo. But he didn't care because he knew. So, and he's very, very powerful, like in his own right before he even married Tamika. So
it's so crazy, your story and how many similarities you have and patterns when we look back in our life, right? He's also an older man.
Yes.
Right? So we talked in this journey about your father being this older, distinguished older man that you admired, respected, and that's kind of what, your pattern of your dating. And now you have still someone who's older, but that you love so much and who rode with you. And it also says something about your principles of standing on business, right? Right or wrong, what I heard throughout this story is whoever stood for you, you were standing for them.
All day.
Like a whole old gangster. You know what I mean? Like, OG gangster. That's what I want to say.
All day.
Wow.
All day.
Wow. Well, I hope this story really helps in your healing process, because I think some of this we've unpacked, right? And what you admitted to here is a lot of blocking, right? And I love the fact that you forgave yourself because God forgives you. And I love what you said to our audience. Despite what you have done or the mistakes you made, you are not your mistake. Right? So it's a lot of things that ring bells here that really can help folks really, really deal with their own stuff. And I think your courageousness to stand and say your truth and talk about it and put it out there, I think that's what makes people love you even the more, because it takes a strong person to do that. Tara, what you thinking about this?
This is a lot. I think that, again, just to have you open up in this way, in a space where you said you've not shared any of these things, it just deepens who we are as women. And no matter, again, we have to say, no matter where you've come from, that's not going to determine where you're going to go. And people can take this story and truly learn from it and heal from it and use it to guide them in certain ways. I have girlfriends all the time that date people, and they think because this person has a certain political status or certain age that this person means the best for them. And this is a true testament that it doesn't mean that it's going to end well. It still has to be right for you. And also the lack of fear to own your part in it.
Right.
Women don't like to do that. We don't like to do that. We like to put that off on someone else. And you really have to own your part.
And that's how you stay stuck. Everything. You can't heal when you still lying.
Yeah.
You can't heal when you still standing behind what's not real and what's fake. Yeah. The healing comes when you can say, okay, I did it. Right?
Yeah.
This happened. Tamika says she did it. You know what?
Yeah.
I did it too. But it doesn't define me. And let's just talk about what you're doing today, because you're doing some amazing things today. So you want to talk to them and tell them about Teen Magazine and how many kids and lives you're blessing throughout your state and now the country?
You know what? And I got to say to you, you're a blessing. And I'm glad that Yandy, and I gotta send her love, and I wouldn't be sitting on this couch if it wasn't for her. I've had Teen Magazine even before Pastor, over 25 years. And when I married Rev, I named the magazine after Pastor. We done touched over 100,000 children. We done gave away a car. We done gave away hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. We done teamed up with Dr. Jamila Davis at Seton Hall, Yale, and we just got great things that we're going to continue to do. And
baby, they giving the kids house. Didn't you say you about to give them a house? They done got cars. I done seen some giveaways, but not like theirs. And just the work that she does and touching so many lives and just so many people that revere her. Even me, you know, hey sis, oh, you need to beat the governor. Come on. I'm like, whoa, you know, I mean, it's amazing the people that she knows. But I know that you're a great person. But today, I respect and admire you even more. And I see why they stand with you. Because you're a real one.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. So that one was real, but we got to pay some bills. If you haven't already, come jump in our community, Black Women's Lives Matter, and let's talk about this. I know this story is going to help some folks here. We'll be right back. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Jamila T. Davis, and I got a special offer for you, right? It's my gift from me to you. You want to level up? You want to manifest the life of your dreams? Well, I'm going to give you a piece of the plan, right? It starts with my Manifested Now vision plan. So follow me. It's actually the template that I use each and every year to get into my goals, my dreams. And unlike a vision board, I actually put this document on paper with goals and dreams and plans of who I want to be and what I want to become. And now you could do it too. It's time to level up, y'all. It's time to be the best you that you could possibly be. And I'm going to give you the plan. And best of all, I'm going to give it to you for free. Click the link right here. Download today and level up. Make sure you share the results with me. This is the exact plan that I've been doing for the last 4 years. And each and every year is taking me higher and higher. And I pray it does the same for you.
Welcome back, y'all. Listen, I don't know if there's anything more touching than listening to this entire story. What I have learned, your resilience, how you are still from 16 on, not just living for yourself, but giving back all the time. You know, allowing your moments to be greater than what's actually happening, than what you're going through, so that you can constantly heal. And since 16, you're taking care of children, and that hasn't stopped.
Wow.
I didn't even think of it like that.
Wow.
So, you know, I've just learned so much. This was so empowering. Thank you for sharing so much with us.
Being so honest and real and truthful.
I love
We love you too.
Love you
you.
too.
Love you, baby.
Yes.
Love you.
Let me get out this mic.
Hold on, you know this looks good when we come together.
Come in.
All right. Well, baby, y'all already know what this is. If you ain't loving yourself more yet, baby, this episode right here is going to make you do it. This is I Love Me More podcast.
And
we'll
we will see you soon.
On the next episode of I Love Me More podcast.
For the first time in the history of our show, we have a man fit in the list.
Our next guest, he's an attorney, right? He's esteemed, world-renowned, does amazing, amazing things. And guess what, y'all? He's my life partner.
I think our relationship is very different than most relationships I've ever had.
At one point, I had given up on love. And him coming back in my life actually opened up the door for me to heal and love again.
I think part of a person's purpose in a relationship is to shift the other party.
We pulled up on purpose. God allowed him to be in the circumstances he was in and me to be in the circumstances I was in, so we could say, bam, if we join forces, this is what it could be.
I had no idea of these ideas. I had an uncle who was incarcerated for 20 years. My brother had been incarcerated. So I was like, wow, this was a thing that was impacting me and I didn't didn't know it.
The thing about him was he was really going after change. Other folks were going after the money. He was going after purpose and change. And then the change work occurred, and it's like,
And basically in New York State at the time, 16 and 17-year-olds were automatically prosecuted as adults for any crime that they committed. And I was hired to create the legislative campaign to change that law in New York State.
this renowned attorney for this big, prestigious, nonprofit organization, and out of nowhere, for him stepping up, advocating, as he advocates for others through the union, he ended up getting fired.